Project planning answers key questions about projects. Why, what, how, where, when, who, how much, risks, returns. Once we have identified the scope of the project, a time schedule needs to be developed. The schedule enables the project manager to predict the overall project duration and when activities are planned to happen. The schedule essentially transforms the project from a vision to a time-based plan. Schedules can provide a basis for you to monitor and control project activities, provide a method to give visibility of the project as it progresses, helps you determine how best to allocate resources so you can achieve the project goal, help you assess how time delays will impact the project, allow you to figure out where excess resources are available to allocate to other projects, increase buy-in from project members because they can see the impact that their work will have on the project, provide data so that decisions are made based on fact rather than gut feel. In order to develop robust schedules, a four-stage process is used. Firstly, the scope of the project is defined in the project management plan. The team review the project scope and identify all the sub-tasks that will deliver the project outlined in the scope. The work breakdown structure, usually shortened to WBS, is used to break projects down into manageable work packages that will provide the deliverables. It is the start of the planning process and is often called the foundation of project planning. Most project professionals recognize the importance and benefits of a work breakdown structure in outperforming projects without one. Next, the time period and owner of each of the work packages is defined. Finally, the work packages are generated into the project schedule. In order to generate the schedule, we need to identify logical dependencies between activities to determine the order or sequence in which they need to be carried out. At this stage, we identify resource requirements and availability, and determine the overlaps between tasks starting and tasks finishing. The schedule process should be completed by the team so that the overlaps are challenged and therefore the optimum plan is developed. The critical path, shown in red, is the shortest time in which a project can be completed. It represents the longest path of activity through the project. Not all activities are on the critical path for a project. The ones that are not on the critical path have what is described as float. The float is the amount of time these tasks can be left before their delay affects the schedule. The project manager, who understands which activities in the project have float and which are critical, will be better able to make decisions relating to whether the start of a task can be delayed or not. Once the schedule has been fully developed, it is included in the project management plan. It is then said to be baselined. Best practice in scheduling allows for some slippage. If you've been given a fixed deadline, plan to meet it earlier and work back from that earlier date. Build some slippage or leeway into each phase of the project. Projects which slip back and are delivered late, or which run over budget or fail to meet other financial requirements, often cause significant problems. Many planners are put under pressure to deliver projects sooner and more cost-effectively than is realistic. Ambition and aiming high are good attitudes, but planning without proper prudence and responsibility is bad practice. Investors and executives tend rarely to question an over-ambitious plan, but they will quickly make very ruthless decisions when any overly ambitious project starts to fail. Materials management is an important element in project planning and control. Materials represent a major expense in construction, so minimizing procurement or purchase costs presents important opportunities for reducing costs. Poor materials management can also result in large and avoidable costs during construction. First, if materials are purchased early, capital may be tied up and interest charges incurred on the excess inventory of materials. Ensuring a timely flow of material is an important concern of project managers. Materials management is not just a concern during the monitoring stage in which construction is taking place. Decisions about material procurement may also be required during the initial planning and scheduling stages. For example, activities can be inserted in the project schedule to represent purchasing of major items such as elevators for buildings. The availability of materials may greatly influence the schedule in projects with a fast track or very tight time schedule. Sufficient time for obtaining the necessary materials must be allowed. In some cases, more expensive suppliers or shippers may be employed to save time. We consider materials management in more depth as part of our logistics and supply chain management e-learning modules. You can access these by clicking the Resources tab on the top right corner of your screen.